So that's Mike Elias after the Shane Baz trade. Now, memory is cloudy. Was the Eflin signing after Baz? So that's the only other move since then they made Blaze Alexander trade last week. So Mike Elias says a lot of work to do with a month plus to go. Well, here we are. Mike Elias holding a press conference today where the Orioles unveiled their new renovated player development complex at Ed Smith Stadium. It's almost 48,000 feet. He says, quote, "This is maybe the best indoor hitting facility in the world." Alas, he did not unveil a new pitcher. So here we are with the staff, what it's been most of the offseason, and you've got Kyle Bradish, who's probably going to be on some sort of limit, and Zac Eflin, who probably is not going to be ready at the start of the season, and that's just for starters.
Well, I think what's not been talked about enough, and in part because everybody's sitting here and waited on bated breath for something that was never going to happen, is that they've built another BS janky situation here. So Kyle Bradish, the last couple of years, and again, it didn't have to be this way. They chose to do it this way because they got cute and had him pitch into May when they should have known he needed Tommy John anyway. So Kyle Bradish threw 32 innings last year. He threw 39 and a third the year before that. He threw 162 and 2/3 in 2023. That strikes me as quite problematic. And how they thread that needle. And he's going to be their best starter, and they're going to want to ride him. Hell, they wanted to ride him in 2024 when his velo was down, and he's trying to finagle his way through an elbow problem that everybody knew he had. So that, to me, especially with these mooks still in control, that's a serious problem. To me, that's an accident waiting to happen. Then they refuse to concede that Wells is a reliever.
Yeah.
Wells threw 15 and a third, and the year before that threw 21 and 2/3. On what planet? On what planet? Other than Planet Bizarro World Warehouse, are you gonna get to this point and still be trying to sell me that in the American League East, where you're facing all those lineups and you're in all these small ballparks and everything feels like the playoffs, that you're going to be able to get starting innings out of Wells? And then you've got Eflin, who struggled all of last year and barely got to 70 innings and is coming off major, serious injury concerns, the likes of which decimated the market for a guy who was getting down-ballot Cy Young votes 2 years ago. And then there's Shane Baz, who threw 166 and a third innings last year. He threw 79 and a third the year before that. He threw 0 the year before that because he's coming back from Tommy John. That's not a potential red flag? He went from 79 and a third. He more than doubled his innings pitched last year. I look at that in its totality, and the fact that to this point, as it stands now, they haven't even added the Bassett or Verlander innings eater. And I say, the more I think about 85 or 86 wins, the less I'm inclined to even buy that.
Well, starting with Wells, he's got to be a reliever.
Because he's not.
Because even when...
I mean, he's got to be. That's great. He's not.
Even when a couple of years ago he was a starter, and he would always hit a wall in July, August. He'd get shut down with a bum shoulder. He hit the IL multiple times with that. Now he's coming off a second elbow surgery. It just makes the most. That's how you're going to limit his innings, is keep him in the bullpen. And that's quite frankly where he's more needed at this point, because the bullpen, they need bodies. Bradish, though, 71 and a third innings combined the last 2 years. That is absolutely a fair concern to have for Kyle Bradish. And they're going to need him to be the stud that he was in 2023 to really lift up this rotation.
Well, let's take Mike Elias at his words, so to speak, when the cut we played coming in, where he's like, we got a month and a half to go. We got work to do. Well, as you said, Bone, Tyler Wells should be in the bullpen, but until they bring in somebody else, they're going to push him as a starter. So here we are, pitchers and catchers report tomorrow.
They've told you repeatedly that they want to build him up as a starter. They view him as a starter. They think he has starter value. Don't you understand? All that matters is value. Value. They think he has value as a starter. Therefore, he's a starter until he breaks down again. Mm-hmm. But, part of the reason why I thought all along he's a starter, because they were never signing Framber Valdez, because this guy was always in their back pocket as a potential starter. So I'm just telling you, they're building a house of cards. I see it as a house of cards. Them keeping Eflin healthy, I'll believe it when I see it. Baz having to now go into a year coming off of 3 straight seasons that were nowhere near the norm. Went from a guy who never really pitched in the majors to a guy who got shut down for Tommy John, a guy who came back and pitched a little bit basically of garbage time the year before, and then was kind of the de facto number 1, number 2 starter for a team and hit the post every 5 days, pitching in a minor league ballpark. I don't know. Like, with this group, that gives me pause. And the Bradish thing should be the biggest concern of all.
Yeah, I think the Bradish thing, absolutely. But even, let's just say Eflin, it's a couple weeks into the season, and they do build up Wells in the spring training. Once Eflin is healthy, that's going to bump Wells.
What makes you think Eflin's staying healthy? He couldn't stay healthy all last year.
No, he's the healthiest he's felt in years.
That's it. I mean, if you're not, he also isn't doing anything.
Yeah. He's the best he's felt in years.
Did say that.
It is.
They didn't wait for Eflin to do some showcase 2 weeks before spring training. They jumped on that pretty early.
They did.
It was the end of December.
They did it super early because, and so at that point, how much do you really know? I mean, you're going to go by what he's telling you, but he's not doing that much yet. And he's also telling you that he's got to be slow played.
Well, he's like, I want to be ready for opening day, but I would want to be, if I'm the Orioles, I would want to be in a position where I don't need him ready for opening day. But alas, with all the work they said they had to get done, they have not done anything for their rotation other than bringing Zac Eflin back, which we just discussed. They should slow play him, so that puts the rotation in the same spot, and he's added nothing since that press conference.
These guys couldn't build up and develop and incubate young starting pitchers when they didn't have to navigate all of their various ailments and injuries and missed time. Like they couldn't build Grayson Rodriguez up just normally before they started breaking him down. You're telling me that they're going to be able to juggle all of this at once in real time. I'm telling you, no, they can't. They couldn't juggle 1 or 2 of these situations. Juggling 4 of them, It's not happening.
The incubator's a process. They're close to getting it right.
They're close to being a 79-win team.
Oh, man.